5 with balanced news you can count on. This is News 4 at 4.
If you just moved here, throw out any ideas you might have about gardening, because gardening in the desert, whole different animal.
That's right. The hot summer sun is very tough on most plants, but not all of them. Our 5-minute gardener, Debbie Mounds from Harlow Gardens, shows us some bulletproof plants. All right, Debbie, you know me. I love plants, but they don't love me. I can't keep them alive. What do you recommend?
Well, we do have a list of what we call bulletproof plants, basically. And these are things that will survive our heat, our drought, and also our cold. Now, the first one I want to talk about is what we're standing underneath. Now, this is a Palo Verde. There's a number of different varieties of Palo Verde. This one happens to be a Desert Museum Palo Verde. They're tough, they're beautiful, they provide shade, and they really will live in our desert soils and in our drought conditions.
Well, they're natural here, right?
They're natural. There are a number of them that are native. This one is not native. This one's a hybrid, but there are a number that are indeed native varieties. Right. And then I have 5 other plants here, John, that will work even in your garden.
Yeah, even in my garden.
Yes, indeedy. Now, the first one I'm going to talk about is called, this is Hesperalo, commonly called red yucca. Now, this is the one people will come in and they'll say, what's that plant that I see on the median? It's got these kind of red flowers on it, and this is it. This guy, you almost have to roll over it with a tank to kill this guy. He takes the cold, takes the heat, it flowers. You can see it's putting up the bloom stalk right now. It's really lovely, and it's tough as nails.
And how tall will this one be?
That one will get to be, the bottom, the base of the plant will get to be probably 3 or 4 foot by 3 or 4 foot, and then it puts up the bloom stalk, which you can see will get a little bit taller than it is now. This next one is a ground cover, and this one is called Dahlia gregii, or dahlia. And this is funny because when customers come in and they ask me about a tough, full sun ground cover, I say, what you want to do is you plant this guy and then you jump out of the way because it is really tough. It just takes over, and this little spindly thing it will cover about 6 foot by 6 foot area all on its own.
And how long?
Oh gosh, in a year's time, okay. It's pretty much that size. It gets little purple flowers, tough as nails. This one down here is called Desert Ruellia. The nice thing about that one is that it blooms a whole lot of the year. So you get a nice green shrub, it's drought tolerant, full sun, and then it gives you blooms almost the entire year. This one here is one of the leucophyllums, or Texas Rangers. Now, normally they only bloom in the summertime, but this guy's blooming now because he just came from the grower. But these guys are tough. You see them in the medians, you see them in schools, churches. They're just, neglect is their name.
They look similar.
Yes, yes, they are similar, exactly. And the last one I have, this is actually a native here. This is a type of fairy duster. This is a pink fairy duster. And you'll see these growing in the canyons and even along in vacant lots. Sometimes you'll see these growing. And they're just really super tough. So even you can grow all of these, John.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
We'll give you a little test.
Yeah, Debbie joins us now. Thanks for being with us. It's hard to believe that anything grows here in the summertime.
Oh, I know, it's amazing. But these guys that I showed, that I was talking to John about, as I said, they'll grow in his garden. And I told him a story. We were standing under a Palo Verde tree when I told him a story. And that happens to be a Desert Museum Palo Verde. Well, that tree was planted. It was young, and it was probably planted there about 10 years ago. And it grew to about the size it was. And then we had one of those summer little bursts come through and flattened the tree, took it down. It literally, bam, all the way down. Our crew came out the next day, chopped it up, cut it down, stump grinder, raked over the ground. There was nothing left. About 5 months later, here comes a little shoot out of the ground. And Mr. Harlow says, Debbie, should we take that tree down? I said, let's watch and see what it does, And you can see what it did all on its own. I mean, that's pretty bulletproof.
Yeah. Now, why would a Palo Verde be a hybrid?
Because what they've done is they've taken, this was actually Desert Museum, hybridized at the Desert Museum, and they took the best of 3 different Palo Verdes, the Foothills, the Blue, and the Mexican Palo Verde. They took all of their best features and they made a tree that promoted all of those features. Because each one of those trees has their own little things that are a little bit quirky, or maybe not quite as much, they don't do quite what we would really like them to do. So this tree kind of takes the place.
I understand that the that Desert Museum Palo Verde has fewer flowers?
Actually, that's not what we know.
Okay.
Actually, the flowers are bigger. The flowers are bigger. It blooms for a longer period of time.
Gotcha.
It's not. It's a very fast-growing tree. It's just. It actually is a better. It's better tree in many ways. It can be a little bit. With the windstorms, it can be a little bit weaker because it grows so quickly.
Well, how much water do these plants need? Because obviously if they're bulletproof, you're not going to be tending to them every day.
Well, once a Palo Verde is established in the ground, you know, in your garden, let's say it's been in your garden for 2 to 3 years, you could probably water it in the summertime every 10 days to 2 weeks. And if we got good summer rains, you might not have to water it at all, as long as it gets deep enough watering. So that's pretty bulletproof.
I'll say.
Like that.
Okay, thank you so much. They're all gorgeous too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Excellent, thank you.